Okay, so now, I started dating this guy that I met when one day when I was coming out of the beauty supply, one of my favorite stores to go to. And he was driving a very expensive car. And he asked me for a hug. And I hugged him. And he was like, damn, you thick. But anyway, like, he was one of those dudes who was selling the weed, whatever you call it, the dime nickel bag back in the day. He was one of those guys who was in that line of work. That's what he used to do. And so I honestly didn't know, like, if I liked this guy. Like, I was just doing something because, like, I was upset about a breakup. So this was another rebound guy that I chose to be in a relationship in. And he would do, like, things like he would lie to me, and he would tell me he was coming to pick me up and take me out. We went on a couple of dates. He took me to the movies once, and then he took me to Red Lobster another time. From what I seen, he seemed to be cool until the lies came. Oh, I'm gonna call you back. Oh, I'm gonna come and pick you up. And he was also another guy who stood me up on Valentine's Day. So this one particular night, me, him, and his cousin was hanging out at one of his relatives' house. And the guy that I was dating, I'm just gonna call him DeAndre. The guy that I was dating, he had all kinds of drugs on him. So he had these X pills. And I realized that I did spell X pills wrong in the title of the edit. I will fix that. But yeah, he took out some X pills, and he had like about 30 X pills in a plastic bag. And he took out the drugs. Him and his cousin took 2. And then it came time for him to offer it to me. At first, I was telling him, I don't know if I should take that. So he's like, just take it. It's going to relax you. You need to relax because you're always uptight. Whatever that meant. So I took the X pills. I took one after I watched him and his cousin take 2. You can tell a real dope head from someone who really just don't really do drugs like that. I'm a drinker. I always have been a drinker. I drink. I don't. The most that I've ever done was puff, puff, pass. And that's about it. And then this story that I'm telling now about the X pills. Yeah, it did happen. And I was 27 around this time. So he gave that to me. I took the X pill. Immediately, I'm gonna be honest. I liked it. I liked that high because I liked the way it made me feel. It's kind of a feeling of being like you're floating. It's like it's a sluggish feeling, but it's a good feeling. It's just is if to me it almost feels like taking a Norcode. Okay, so I took that and I immediately felt like high, extremely high. So an hour passed. Me, him, and his cousin is riding around, and he dropped his cousin off at his house, and then I told him, I think you need to take me home. And I was dozing off in the car and I wasn't myself. And he's like, you're not going home. I'm like, what? He's like, I don't think it's a good idea for you to go home. You may have to spend the night with me because I don't want your mom to find out that I gave you this drug and how this drug is affecting you. So I said, no. I said, take me home now because I don't feel right. And he said, no, you're not going home. Next thing I knew, I dozed off in the car with him. And it's like, the next thing I knew, I ended up at one of his relatives' house with him. He left me in his bedroom while he went to go take care of business and whatnot. And like the whole time that I was sleeping, I just was having all kind of crazy dreams, and then woke up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat. I think I had one of those phones, those flip phones back in the day. My mom was trying to call me and I didn't answer. I was in no condition to answer. I wasn't in my right mind. So, yeah. The very next day, when I woke up, he was in bed beside me with his arm wrapped around me. And then I saw that it was daylight outside. And then I said, I looked at him, I said, what day is it? He starts laughing. He said, is you all right? I said, not really. And I had this extremely bad headache. Extremely bad headache. He took me home the very next day. But he didn't want to take me home on that day. That's why I say I felt like he kidnapped me, because I kept telling him while I was under the influence, could you take me home? And he kept telling me no. He's like, your mom is not about to call the police on me for giving you something that I gave it to you to relax you. That's what he was telling me the next day. It was only to relax you, because you're always uptight and always worried about stuff, and I wanted you to relax. I'm like, don't you ever encourage me to, I know I took the dope. I took the X pill or whatever. I'm the one put it in my mouth, but it was peer pressure from him, because at first I said, no, I don't think that I should take that. He said, just take it. He's like, it's going to relax you. And it did relax me. It relaxed me a little bit too much, because that was strong. I still remember to this day how I felt. And even I was afraid to go home like that. Because I was even when I would get up to try to walk, I would be like staggering from side to side. So, once he took me home, my mom was looking at me up and down. She's like, "Girl, I've been calling you all night. What happened?" I said, "I had to make up something." I said, "Well, his car stopped and we had to go and stay over there at his uncle's house, and his uncle don't stay that far, which his uncle did stay close by to where I lived." But my mom was highly upset. She says to me, "I don't want you dating that," or she said, "I don't want you dating that motherfucker ever again, because I feel like he kidnapped you." He kind of did, but, But then I kept a diary back then. All the time I used to write in the diary. My mom read my diary and she found out. She found out that I tried the X pills. And she was highly upset about that too. And she was telling me, "You let that nigga turn you on to some drugs?" She's like, "I ought to call the police on him right now." I said, "Please don't, Mom." But yeah, she was upset. And I would have been upset too if I was her, but it was crazy because like I had never been in a situation like that before. And you try something and you don't think that it's going to affect you until you start feeling the effects of a drug, and that was just so crazy. I will never forget that. But that is the end of this story time. My ex boyfriend had me trying some drugs with him. This happened like back in 2003. That's the end of this story time. I will come back later on with another video for y'all. Until then, stay blessed.